No.
Yes, Quinn, we have nothing to.
Let us pray. Father God, thank you for letting us gather here today. Let us make wise decisions with the money that we've been entrusted to take care of. Watch over those who need your hands of healing and families that care about them. Pray.
Yes, sir.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Stuart, would you like me to go ahead and take the roll? I heard that, in my absence, that folks were a little bit more. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. So,
I think your feelings are a little.
She's in those nerves. Anyway, if I might, go ahead and call her Miss Bechtel.
Present.
Ms. Cookenbook.
Here.
Mr. Cox. Thank you. Mr. Booth and Mr. Turner. Thank you.
And me and Kim said we're gonna give you a hard time.
Well,
Real skill. Oh, heck. I can also.
And the code number 3711A1, 2.23711A6.
No move.
on the motion to go into closed session under 2.23711A1, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body, evaluation of the performance of departments of schools or public institutions of higher education where such evaluation will be necessarily involved in discussion of the performance of specific individuals. And this has to do with a short list of a couple of personnel issues. I just wanted you all to be aware of, good and bad. And then 2.23711A6, discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made public initially, the financial interest of the governmental unit would be adversely affected. And that also has to do with some personnel-related expenditures and discussion of real estate acquisition. So, and with that, let's see, we had Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtel,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We'll go to
Session.
So moved.
Second.
All right. On the motion to come out of closed session, Ms. Bechtel,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yeah.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Okay.
Certification motion, we only discussed those things when we closed session for.
No.
Second.
Okay. On the motion to certify that we only talked about those things that we were supposed to in closed session, Mr. Booth,
Yeah.
Ms. Bechtel,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
All right. You are out and certified. I did not say certifiable. I did not say that. I got one more day till I vote.
It's all bad. Especially.
Jerry, second.
the real estate.
My best, man. Not that I'm paying attention.
Any good news on our budget?
Good news.
We're still hoping.
One, if I may.
Yeah.
One of the things to consider or additional information, I had read it last evening, this morning, and actually I had to speak with Sheriff Brian earlier about something in his budget that he's going to revisit, and I got with Tara. But we had a further conversation regarding the 5%, 7% conversation that's still looming. It's from his understanding and pretty much what I read, and I can print it off for you. It's, from the comp board. 5% is pretty much what it's going to be. The adjustment may come May of the 7% for sheriffs and maybe expand to all compositions, not until December or January. So I to know that there may be a 6 or 5 month adjustment in the fiscal year 24 and not a 12-month adjustment. So going in at 7%, I would not probably be financially feasible or necessary. Necessary. But if you wanted to, reevaluate or re-examine December to June or January to June, that is the implication from the comp board,
So,
to increase it at 7%.
so have a placeholder of the funds that we know will be coming, and if we don't use it, if they don't do it, then we don't have to.
Either way, we don't have to redo it.
Right.
So the 5% of the skinny budget, they had a 3, 5, 6, and 7. 6 seems not a conversation or even anything that they're visiting. And it's the 5% for fiscal year July 1st, and then a possible, not definite, they're not holding that, 7% for compositions. 2 more percent would 5 to 2 would be 7, right? 7% come January, December, January.
Yes.
Budget, that automatically got half a year of increases that you've got to make up for when you start your next budget process. That's what's gonna happen with this. The associated costs that we pay, when we start our next budget, we're gonna be in a hole 6 months worth, starting right off the bat.
So, I have something, where are we on our ARPA funds? Broke?
Not broke yet.
Not yet.
Not broke
I
yet.
was just wondering where we are.
So I heard this might be a question. So I pulled the report the most recent report I submitted to the feds, and it includes both what we have expended and what is obligated.
And then what we have.
And so, yeah, and what we have left. So total obligations is about 1.47. 1.47. And then total expenditures to date has been 1.32. And so, of course, that's from 3.1. So you're still in the million and a half kind of range, what you have left. Now, what's included in there, this, I had to get pretty detailed in this. So in terms of I chose to get detailed. And so the major categories are HVAC. This is just a reminder to y'all. HVAC for county buildings, the playground equipment, EMS recruitment and retention funds.
Was that hazard pay?
No,
That
that's
was retention funds, okay.
yes, that is not hazard pay. COVID supplies, cleaning, Zoom, those kind of things. And we also included in there a flood at the courthouse in April of last year, as part of, in that category. Business, our contribution to business continuity. We still had $5,606 outstanding from our previous obligation, so that you all took it out of there. Floyd Vatty application match, that's the Citizens Fund. So in terms of obligations, you'll recall that was $100,000 to, at this point, it's only 41,000 has been expended. And then hazard duty, ma'am, to your question, the sheriff's office, you'll recall we did first for 39,000. The Floyd County PSA is 878,000. That's that original amount. The Porch at Plenty, the county employee hazard pay, Shop Floyd Tourism, Innovation Center HVAC, the Virginia Tech grad student, and then that's it. And so our total amount, total revenue loss, we categorized it as revenue loss, which gives us more flexibility, is total available was $3,059,000, $3,059,000 is what we totally had. So that's where you're left.
That's where we're left.
Yeah, so total adopted budget left, it looks like, is still about a little over 1.
That must be expended by December of 24.
There is chatter though about pulling back unspent COVID monies.
Before.
So, if I might, Mr. Chairman, so there's a couple of things that are kind of afoot with that. Yeah, there is some chatter about that, and so as I mentioned, what some folks in other communities have been doing is applying that funding to current obligations, which is part of the benefit of putting that as revenue replacement, and then doing some other things. We have not done that, but that has certainly is an option and is something that has actually been suggested. So that's there. Some of the things that you all and us have talked about, some related to that, is of course the continuing saga of the road at the Commerce Center. We have Ladina and I, she's probably reported to you the other day about, we did have a really good call with the EDA about possibility of being able to get some funding there. It would require local match. If we did, there's a way we could potentially make that work and use some of our funding as match for that. So that's a possibility there. And we also were looking at putting in for some economic development strategic planning funds out of that. Because again, that's either 90-20 or 80-20 money. And that could possibly come out of there.
Was that
And then,
with,
of course, the PSA continues to request funds.
who is that with?
That would potentially go through probably the regional commission, or we could go out, but Kevin Bird was the one that kind of organized the call for us and with the EDA, and so we would be using, if we did the economic development planning. And so she's been working on these applications, and I know she's chatted with you about it. That would allow us to kind of put together a new plan for economic development, because we're kind of at the end of whatever we had. You can use the ARPA funds for, either directly or indirectly, we can spend those ARPA funds. I mean, now the door is pretty much open on the ARPA funds for any governmental need.
They may call for that money to come back in before we can use it all.
Well, and that's part of why
Is that in this budget?
They talked about doing it was in separate legislation last time we. And
Instead give us some reason.
if that gets us to December 24, which would fit back in.
Manager, push it off.
Well, I mean, I know we've gotten plans. It seemed to me that if we didn't have to continue to go into debt anymore, that we've got 3 million. I know other people are still.
We don't have 3 million.
no. When
We got about 1 million and change.
Okay, the total was,
Yeah.
we have 1.5 left.
No.
no,
1 to 1.
1
Yeah.
to 1.5.
yeah, closer to one, closer to one.
It's borrowed.
But yes, yes.
We can get
So, but yeah, so
Yeah. Right, exactly.
We could get.
Yeah.
It would be prudent to use this money before it gets
Absolutely.
pulled back.
Yes.
As much as they take off us, much headaches we need.
So I can send someone.
We should get some brain.
I keep stalling. It's a large number statewide that it's unspent. And I'm sure they're looking at it from the standpoint, they want it back in their coffers because they can get that 5.25% off that money in their investments. And then if the feds come back, they'll get the principal back, but they paid their money.
well, at least in our region, I cannot speak beyond our region and a little bit further, kind of Roanoke, Patrick. We are an outlier of kind of keeping to having distinct projects and not just rolling it in. So, I suspect, a lot of people are making moves to start making some changes. So I was asking, since I wasn't a part of the discussion about the loan, was asking about if anybody recalled, Kim was going to go check if there's a prepayment issue with what.
think so.
No, so we have, but it's within,
After
2 years.
two years or.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to, I mean, we could take less out. Yeah, I have it in mind too.
We could always use that little money to pay down higher interest loans that we have.
The only problem with that is we refinanced and we got most of our other loans. Three.
Yeah, we've really done that.
So Man, if we had
We are.
refinanced,
Yeah, it would've been-
August,
Kudos to y'all for having refinance, because it's making a big difference in our.
Correct,
Yeah,
especially now.
So, if I might, in terms of your budget though, so are you all, Kim went ahead and made the changes that you all had recommended yesterday.
Well, yeah, just the three changes, and I've added, it should be, please let me know, because like I said, my folder has been a little challenged. So I wanna make sure on it says that working copy, fiscal year, right? Working copy?
that's the one we use, right?
Yes, please.
Right.
It should now represent a board of supervisor recommendation column. Do you see that?
Yeah,
So, and so you will see there's 3 highlights. Hopefully, yep, 3 highlights. And then your bottom line has changed. Yeah, hard copy? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I forgot you didn't have it. See if I can bring you one.
send it to print, to print on that. They do copy.
Sure. Yes, Linda, I'll do it for you too.
So just 2 thoughts.
so.
Just the expenditure at this time, there has been no changes to revenue.
Gotcha.
And we have one empty revenue line intentionally based on the economy, is that correct, the tots?
Yes. I'm waiting on.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on a few to get probably.
I like having the empty space. Give us
Yep, I agree.
That's correct.
I'm wondering if
What?
within the fire and rescue fund, I don't know if we went deep enough. Rescue squad volunteer units.
Yeah, we went from 70 to 30.
Well, 70 is what they asked.
No, 70.
That
Yeah.
was what they requested. County administrator was 45, we just took off 10.
Let me get your.
Five.
Also just decreased, I went back through, it's just been just showing up is not what I call working.
Yeah, but that just losing 25,000. Let's see that.
For that fire rescue fund, do we have an explanation of their increased fire department operation maintenance budget of $10,000, why it's gone up 1,000?
Sorry, on the fire side?
Fire
Yeah.
rescue.
Yes, so I think, there's a couple of things that,
This-
Fire department operation maintenance, first line, 3202,
Right, and that's gone up.
that's the one you're talking about.
Yes.
they requested 15,000 more than they got.
So at a broad level, my understanding of the volunteer fire department as opposed to I think some of the legal documents refer to rescue as the squad. So thank you for bringing all that in.
So this is
Helpful.
different between rescue and fire.
So they're
Under the same. Okay.
they're two separate entities. And then to the question about increasing cost for fire,
That's it, yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, good on that one.
Okay.
It wasn't for this. How much separate? Separate.
You gotta hand it, you know, stand up front there. And my lady said, him and his wife lost their house, sir. And they just so appreciative of our department, and they're so fast.
Mhm.
I mean, even though they was able to save basically the structure, and so much material, doing it, so it's gone. I mean, they, but, you know, I should say, I'm not gonna say them right, you know, there's some motels that brought the ball for that. And not honoring the Red Cross.
Mm.
Well, and you all probably know by seeing them around, but you know, the folks on the equipment committee know very well, you know, the fire departments mostly do a really good job of keeping up their equipment. Some of them particularly well.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those things are, they almost, some of their vehicles almost qualify for ARP, but they look brand new because
Yeah.
they put so much care into them. So really want to acknowledge that takes some time and effort and commitment and pride to keep up with it. So kudos for that. Yes, quit, yeah. So y'all have some thoughts on what you might want us to advertise? Okay.
$1,000 here, $1,000 there.
We're not picking up.
We're not gonna make that 324.
Nope. We could charge admission.
Manage to pay them. Yeah, I don't see that we have much choice but to take that 324 difference out of the stabilization. We're not raising taxes, we're
So
not.
that's the reason we should have keep from raising taxes. 2 years in a row.
I mean, we can still go through it and do it, that was real. Still,
Yeah, but you know, staff, I gotta hand it credit.
They took good care of us before they gave us this.
got it.
So, what is the, in the recap, the 100% unused carryover funds plus the PPT carryover? Explain that again?
I think.
Yeah. Just explain that again, please.
There's approximately 351,000 within the budget that's going to be an automatic carryover because it was not used. There's asterisks next to each line within the description and the expenditure line item.
Yeah.
That would represent that. We put the 500 because there was
over $1 million at the time we did this. 500,000 of that was part of that personal property tax. There was over $1 million in revenue.
Right.
So the that would be the 526, thousand 940. Right.
And then if I may, on the question about the 100% carryover, so that's some of those projects like the library parking lot and the roof on the courthouse that you all clearly intended to do. We just didn't have the staffing bandwidth to get done and the ability to contract it, but so we moved those forward because we knew that was fully your intention, and we'll put them on a high priority as soon as you keep them in there.
Yes.
The library people talked to me many times about their parking.
We have the transfer station floor repair
Right.
that has been put off that I'm not sure how long we can do.
Yeah, that's all, you're all
Correct.
counted. Yes, yes. Yeah, any carryover related to grants is separate than that, because none of that would be 100% money. The only thing, and I should clarify that, so the only carryover that we budgeted in there was these 100% projects. So if there's a department that's gonna potentially have $10,000 left, that's not a part of this. That's, as you know, do that as a separate conversation. But these are the projects you agreed to, but we didn't get that.
But I want to, and maybe I misunderstood you, Jerry, and apologize. It's the 100% unused carryover plus part of the revenue from the PPT together. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that nobody thought 851,000 was pure carryover. Okay, just making sure. There's
Revenue. So that covers.
Correct.
Okay, I got it. Which then essentially sort of means you didn't even have to dip into your stabilization.
Right, but we wanted to make that, put that 500 in a budget
True.
stabilization fund.
True.
So to be able to put that in on the expenditure side, we had to pull it on the revenue to make it clean.
Then we get back to the You said that would be still applied back to stabilization.
Correct.
And you said the rest of it? What do you mean by the rest of it? Fund balance already. Right. Okay, I just want to make sure everybody.
So if we didn't have these carryover unused funds, if we went just based on this fiscal year, we would be short of meeting our
Yes.
expenses by over $300,000,
Correct.
which still puts me at we need to make some, if we're not gonna keep increasing taxes every year, there's some lines that have to go away.
I don't know where we find.
I mean, if you get higher expenses, not just revenue.
Right. And the only way to get additional revenue is to not increase taxes, increase tax revenue by changing what we're doing in the county. We have EDA focus on some different aspects of how, instead of jobs, increasing retail sales in the county to increase our tax base rather than increase tax rate. But yeah, that would be something interesting to explore is how do we change our county revenue? What are the other counties doing that we're not?
Well,
The biggest thing is,
But we also have, but we also have very little out retail sales in the county. So if we can get some focus on getting that changed. Yeah.
Yes.
Extends
And
outside.
that was, yes, part of that was some of the language we used when we talked to EDA. And as long as we kind of keep it related to economic development, but part of that is revenue generation in addition to job creation.
Correct.
So,
And I agree
that's-
with that. But at the end of the day, how much does that? I mean, it's like, we look at a penny off of our current population, I guess. A penny is doing 150,000 or 186,000.
Give or take.
So, I mean, and it's a good idea, but like, how much does that?
I think that is the responsible way to take care of the county's revenue.
Well, I mean,
Not increasing taxes, 'cause I think that's very.
It sounds nice, but I'm just saying that the meat and the potatoes of it, if we gain a penny, 186,000 off of a penny, if we incorporated that plan, which is not a bad plan, but the meat and potatoes, what does it really do?
What's the impact?
I mean, it sounds good. Sounds good for a newspaper article. Like, what does it do? That's the question.
I mean, are people still going to be leaving their job, spending money in another town, and still we won't see it? I don't know.
And what has to be done to create $186,000?
Oh. Told me that the line here opened. There was
Probably a good example.
There was a major drop in Christiansburg. Blacksburg and Christiansburg, we used to go by food line over there, from here, way in instead of stopping over there. But
The town reaps the minimum, but that's probably good. Like, food line open there. What does food line? I know it's town. We're not getting that, but what does food line do?
Right, that's what I'm saying, if we could do something.
That's what
not
I'm wondering, like,
full-line,
what-
but something.
But what? It's there. It's working. It's bringing revenue. But what does it bring?
We thought it'd be interesting to see how much revenue the $2 fees.
In the county.
Yeah.
that would be
I mean, real estate's pretty easy to figure out. But outside of that, I don't know how the rest of it works.
It's
I mean,
really a big rental.
uh-oh.
Is there any,
Sorry.
any way you can find out how much revenue we may make off the three? Sort of,
like we can figure out the real estate pretty easy.
Right.
But
Let me see if we can. There's some of the tax revenues really can't, have a certain level of confidentiality to them. But I'll get with the folks and see what we can. And I just, yes. Yeah, but I think to Ms. Bechtel's point was when you would compare us to even, to larger counties, fortunately, we have substantially less sales tax as a proportion of our revenue, which is a common commuter county problem, right? And that's what's happened over the years. So, not great, not great. Now, I did talk to their administrator about it a little bit because, I see them, of the folks in the region, even though they're bigger, in many ways, they're more similar to us than a lot of the rest. And so in talking to them, they saw a 17% increase in their sales tax this year. They have some Dollar Generals. They like those. They've also had some other folks that have come in like that have been real positive. They also recently acquired a Walmart, and they found that to actually be not as much of a gain as you would think because they saw losses from other places.
Right.
And so that's a little bit of the story in Patrick as well. They do.
Yeah.
And then looking at Patrick's money over time, because again, that's another one that's somewhat similar to us. They do have that Walmart that throws things off. which also threw the food line out of business, as y'all recall, which is kind of ironic. Yeah. Well, and the other big positive budget driver they have that we don't have is Primland.
Yep.
You know, because some of those rooms go for $700 a night, and you can buy a $200 shot of bourbon over there if you want. So, so I guess that's some of the examples maybe of places that I don't know that solves everything, but those are some of the diversification differences.
You're, bring the bang for the buck. You can't really have your cake and your ice cream too, because then you change the makeup of the county.
And that's so Floyd County has seen a lot of change in the last 10 years. Our economic development, population, whatever. But, at this point, we're probably looking at 17 million since 2014 to 2024, when we passed this budget. I mean, 46,998,865, that's pretty close to 47. But then you ask the question, so where are we in the county? And it's costing, we all know how much more it's costing us to run our own households, and it's the same with the county. We've done some major things over the last 10 years. We've had to upgrade the radio system for public safety. We had to go to a paid rescue squad for public safety. It was imperative that our sheriff's department not be out alone on a call, a sheriff's deputy, that we have 3 officers per shift. These are all extremely important things. And what we're committed to as supervisors to provide. Sanitation costs, as we know, have kept going up. And we're trying to deal with those problems. And I understand it's not perhaps the most popular thing to do, but for us as a county, I don't know how much leaner we can be with what we have presented before us. Our insurance costs on that. We have to keep our employees happy. So, I mean, we're trying to be fiscally responsible and fiscally conservative with how we spend our citizens' money. But it's the reality of our situation. And I don't know how there isn't any kind of magic sort of, I mean, like you said, you don't want to change the complexion of the county. I mean, I don't know how many people would really want
Well, we
a Walmart.
like Floyd has done a great job branding Floyd, the town of Floyd. I jokingly said earlier, in the whole county, but I jokingly said earlier this past Saturday, I felt like I lived in Asheville, North Carolina, or Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And great for the town. I mean, there was probably 30 people at 11 o'clock. There was probably 30 people standing outside Blue Ridge. They're waiting to eat. And I knew nobody. Nobody looked familiar. So we've done a great job branding people coming to the town. But it ain't a big rush of people wanting to go to Indian Valley, Willis, Birch Fork, or Copper Hill. So the town's reaping, the rewards.
You gotta give them to credit. When you're raising the taxes this year, we
Oh, yeah.
accomplished a lot
Yes.
this year. It's because they,
And we trimmed it back.
yeah,
Or they trimmed it back.
And this next year, we're going to accomplish students without
when I stopped, because I remember when I stopped this. It's way,
Like
but
23, right?
every time we look, huh?
23-ish.
You know,
Oh, 37?
And then I stopped and looked back at what all we've done in the 12 years I've been on here. It's not me, everybody.
Yeah.
We accomplished a lot. We brought the county around with no more taxes and our taxpayers have been great.
And during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We held,
Decrease.
we increased in the pandemic on a lot of those.
We decreased.
Well,
Right. We decreased our budget line
yeah,
to make up for that. We went into those those were long and hard discussions
Yeah.
those days. I mean, we went from 39 million in 19 to 37 million in 2020. I mean, we worked hard to do that.
Well, yeah, considering the lack of revenue that's available, of course we have, but still to have the lower tax rate that we do have compared to other counties, I think we're doing darn good job.
for a bedroom community, let's face it, for
We are.
a bedroom community. Yeah, the taxes, that's why we have people moving in here buying these large farms, building these big houses and money left over. You know, us here local, to me, taxes are high. Sorry, I have.
But looking at other counties,
And not knocking the industry, land prices. I see piece of property selling for $8,000 an acre, and I'm sitting there thinking, that would be three.
Yeah.
But, given all that, for a bedroom community, it's a wonder our tax rate to accomplish what we've tried to accomplish is not, here again, higher than what it is. And I'm not saying that because I'm sitting here, I'm just looking at the picture of what's been done. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's starting to creep back good. Like I said, there might be a few places we go in and all that. This is probably one of the cleanest budgets that we've ever.
It used to work. Yeah, because I mean, if you, oh, jobs, fight. Yes.
Been a few of them through the years.
Yep.
If you roll with mowing this, it's,
Wink. Right there.
All right. Cried over the tears of Kenny to figure out what we're gonna do.
Well, this updated version has got the 1% in it.
No.
Does not,
The
on the computer or in the paper.
budget, the 5% that will be, we will be adding into the budget, because I was waiting to, wasn't sure. Um, The total county 5%, including FICA, VRS, and life, will be approximately $282,030.
That brings us to, say that again?
282.30.45.
30.45.
Was to deliver that number. Slow.
I try to do it's like a Band-Aid.
Stabilization would need $606,207.45. If we add 282.30.45, the 324,177.
No,
Did I pull the wrong number?
We'd be taking away an additional 282, right?
Right.
526 minus the 282.
Well, no, the budget stabilization has 5.85.
525.05 up top.
There's
8230.45 plus 324,177 gives us $606,207.
850.
No. So,
Oh, the
Revenue
the negative.
expense.
Negative.
yeah, the negative.
It goes from 324. Gotcha.
So it goes to 606,207.45 will be what we're in the negative
Gotcha.
with the 5%. And is everybody getting salaries at 5% right now?
right. The school just has 5%.
That's what,
This was submitted,
yes.
because I
gotta
had
have
that other money.
yours is already built in.
Let me check that for sure.
I was thinking he said that that was already.
I believe it was, but I'd rather validate that than just say yes or no.
And then, if we think about what you had said, about 2% from January to June 30th,
So,
Truly be a 6% overall.
then,
No, if you do 7 and 8, so
Yeah.
it would be
yeah,
an average.
yes, sir.
Was that 28,230.45?
$282,030.
200.
$282,030.45.
that's where I get it. That's okay.
I did also. I liked it better with that 0.
Thanks, Dee.
And that's,
So at 5%, the just comp board, let me see, so just, this is
Yeah,
1, 6, 6, 8, 2. It would be approximately, because at 5% for just comp board positions, if that's what I'm hearing. Is that what you're asking me? I'm sorry.
that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
It would be approximately, 2.5 would be 45,008. So it'd probably be with FICA and everything, I would say dirty, about 50,000.
So that would bring us up to
Just
656,
comp board positions
207, 40,
for 6 months.
656, 207, 45, approximately. If we went to 7, if the comp board requires us to go to 7. Not if they say.
But wouldn't that, and I don't know, but wouldn't that be something we would think about, or you guys would think about putting in, let's say, contingency? You know, siding for that, and then in the event, because it may not happen,
True.
may not happen, but then you'd always have it in contingency, you can, you know, disperse.
Correct.
Exactly.
But I'm just trying to say, this, I mean, wherever we put it.
We would,
606.
to balance it, I would want to put the 282,000 within the budget, and that would bring down, that would increase the revenue minus expenses to what Linda said, 606.
207, 45.
So it'd be like 186 would end up, if we're continuing in how we've been moving, about 186,000 would end up in budget stabilization fund.
We would take the 851.
Or 136 in budget stabilization fund and put the 50,000 in contingency, increasing your contingency to 300,000 and not leaving it at 250. To earmark it, thank you, earmark it for the possibility of the 2% increase from December and or January to June.
Whichever one you put it in, you got it.
Yeah,
Correct. So if whatever you guys tell me, Linda, direct me, you know, for kind of that final, I will actually put it in, instead of just giving you the bold numbers, the 282, I'll actually go line by line, department by department. This way, everything would be clean. Probably the contingency if, because budget stabilization, we don't want to touch, we don't want to move. In my opinion, it would be to put that 50 in contingency, and that's cleaner, probably auditing wise as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you. But I think for auditing purposes, cleaner, you know, communication, it would be consistent. Yes.
But budget stabilization should be used for budget stabilization. Not this, like what you just said is fine, but.
Correct.
Right.
Not
I got you. Right, balance it out, like now,
engine
right. Yeah, that's, I agree, but what we're doing now, that's. Correct.
Things we can start pulling out of that in December.
If we
When-
play
when
it
they-
50 days.
And I will, if I may, I will tell you that there is, there has been a history of kind of moving contingency funds at the end of the year per your approval to assist with stabilizing the budgets departmentally as necessary with your approval. So is it the cleanest way to, is it okay to do? Yes, absolutely. Is it the cleanest way? No. And this would be the beginning of kind of just tightening that up.
Got it.
System. It would be helpful. So the other thing, if whatever direction, like I said, I can go and give you clean, you know, by department, you could see really all the changes with the 5% raises. You know, the budget stabilization change, if you want me to add the contingency, add that change, whatever you guys want me to do, I can kind of give you your clean budget statement under your board of supervisor recommendation.
in addition, if you'd like me to, I can, by that time, would have a most recent, when I close May, revenue, so you can revisit your revenue source and what we budgeted and where we're at.
Yeah.
I'm okay with putting 50,000 in contingency here, but
Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna increase contingency $50,000 with that note earmarked for the possibility of the state coming down and increasing another 2% off on the comp positions.
Who's
Now,
that?
remember, that's just the comp position, so it's not entire departments.
Would that be enough? Could be still.
It would be with the account number and the expenditure line under contingency.
you can just,
I can add another one if you'd like me to. It's just that when you start adding, it starts getting watered down. And that with the new system, and even I've been trying, like you see, like the rec department, like I'm getting rid of the $500 line items, and I understand the purpose, but it's not necessary, between us and, the staff there, so.
We could, however, put like a footnote essentially that was your intent, so we don't
I could
forget.
put that in the description,
Yeah,
if that helps.
I want to make sure that it's this, if anybody sees our budget, that they see that there's funds earmarked. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
yes.
but you
And
didn't
this
forget.
new, this new system allows us to do that much easier.
From what I understand, yes.
And that's what's important, because I agree, that clarity,
Right.
absolutely. And it's not just for anybody else. We can look at it and go, oh, yeah, that's right. That's what I was saying.
Right, we don't have 300,000 because 50 is earmarked for a specific purpose. It's the difference between your new house fund and your vacation fund in one bank account.
This is coming from the person that has 16 accounts. What is named fun?
I've moved on to working on the dates to be proposed.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Jim to figure out what you want to do.
Well, we gotta
Well, those are my two people, so I'm done now.
Tim's cooking with one, so. Okay, I just moved on and I was trying to figure out what it is, kind of where your drop dead dates are for advertising and things. I pulled up our cheat sheet about publication requirements and so close this up here. So for budget, one news publication at least 7 days prior to the public hearing. Public body must wait 7 days after the public hearing before voting to adopt the budget. 2 weeks. So you're basically at a 2 weeks. So if you all make a decision today, and then we would need a couple of days, so we could potentially have something ready to advertise on Monday Monday or Tuesday in the Roanoke paper, but it wouldn't show up even if we were ready, Monday, it won't show up in the Floyd Press until Thursday the 8th.
But Roanoke saves us.
Right.
And then you would need to have a public hearing 7 days after whatever that public hearing date is, or after that publication date is. So if we counted the 5th, this is your worst case, so if you counted the 5th in the Roanoke Times as your start of your clock, but we would advertise in the Floyd Press as a courtesy, then you could have your public hearing on your meeting on the 13th.
That was still, but you'll be remote,
I'll be remote and attending.
so we'll still have,
Right. We
And-
usually try not to,
right,
we usually try to have everybody,
right.
especially the one we've attended.
And then that would allow you, if I might, to vote on the 20th or any time.
It just gets,
It's tight.
right, it gets,
No,
Yeah, you will.
I'm leaving the 21st, be back 26th.
Good.
Yeah, before I leave yet.
I will be back.
if we don't do the public hearing 13th, if we do it on the 20th, that puts us really close against the voting clock.
That might be my revised budget recommendation, is that we advertise on Monday and Monday should be okay. Monday.
Monday the 5th.
Monday the 5th in the Roanoke Times is our advertisement of record, but a courtesy one in the Floyd Press on the 8th. And then public hearing on the day meeting of the 13th. And your budget vote then could be on the 20th.
Special call meeting.
Okay, go with that. Well, it's the end of publication too, so if they mess up, they would still get it the next day.
Are you talking about having published Monday or it's published Monday, so that day can, right?
If we can get it to. Wednesday.
Sure, you don't count.
Working days or the calendar?
Or calendar day.
8 days.
Calendar.
Steve said it's 8 days. Yes, we said. We need to do Tuesday? No. Well, in any case, the public hearing would be on the 13th, right?
You probably wouldn't hear first thing.
Yeah.
Following in Joe's footsteps.
Mhm.
He's following in your footsteps.
We don't focus.
Yeah, I can't do it. Yeah.
I was just counting days. Time is up to y'all.
No, we can't do it in the,
These have all been open.
We couldn't next year.
Yeah, same thing.
We get a follow statute. We can't follow it.
they, the public, even though we're doing this in the morning, in the daytime, the public still does have the ability to send us letters, have read into record and even call in during our meetings to participate if we want it.
We've actually.
Their voice heard. So although I do understand people like to come in person, they do have opportunity to communicate.
And voice their thoughts.
Yes.
And if I might,
Got some,
Right, I'm just gonna put that out there. We're not doing this to avoid hearing from
Right.
people in person.
What we gotta do,
What it is.
what we gotta do.
Well, and if I might, to kind of augment that, that's, you also have those 7 days after the public hearing, and there's a reason the statute requires that to give folks more opportunity.
Budget meeting,
Yeah.
8:30 on the 20th.
Can we do it possibly later on the 20th? Maybe.
But public hearing would be the 13th. Wait,
Hold on. Let's make sure we got these dates right, 'cause I think
yeah, I think the public hearing would have to be 13th,
Right.
and then you would potentially vote on the 20th. Okay, we just wanted, because what we were hearing was different than, yes.
You want that meeting at 9:30.
Give me a,
That would only be.
Yeah.
At least you would need to potentially vote. If y'all, whatever y'all put in the call to do. Because
I can.
this is the vote.
Oh, 9:30.
We have a meeting at 30 and public hearing at 9.
So public hearing on the 13th at 9 a.m. And then. You got that? Okay. And then special called meeting on the 20th. And the request was for what, 9:30?
9:30.
Sure. He's holding breath for me.
I ain't saying that, I only got one meeting.
You want us to fix that?
I got basketball camp.
That was not bragging.
So you're not gonna have a budget.
Yeah, I guess.
So the planning commission.
Some. Yeah,
Is there a jar for that?
Saturday and next Thursday, 35%. Yeah. So.
Okay.
All right, so we're going from there.
So, and then we need to make sure we're clear on what we're publishing.
Yeah.
I think that's, so we've decided when the public hearing is and when the vote is. So we circled all around.
We like to do that, haven't you noticed that?
Just gonna not order lunch.
Yeah, something we do.
So is it what you would like us to advertise what we have and assuming a 5%? And then the funding for the additional funds that we discussed and to put into contingency,
Comp board
the comp board.
positions.
and the remainder goes to budget stabilization. Remainder, okay.
And I would assume you will be taking some money out of the 526,942.
Mhm.
Putting that into the budget stabilization fund to come up with the 606,207.45 and.
Don't
You?
believe that would be necessary?
Well, if we are now with the 282 and the 5% raises that we've
At
already,
least the 5%.
yeah, that is the 5%, but then already deficit of 324,177. That brings us to our 606,207.45. We will use budget stabilization, but that's only 520,505. No, why not?
What we're gonna, that 851.19,
Yes.
that's where the 606 would come out of.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Just as long as there's enough for those projects that we talk about.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
And then the other stabilization number,
And move it up.
I think we should, maybe 180 left in stabilization.
A little 130 because the 180 was including the 50.
50.
Right.
Right, well, in fact, that,
What do you use with the remainder? Will that line item still be there? Or are you going to clean that up and put it all in budget stabilization, except for,
That's what you wanted, right?
yes.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm
Mhm.
understanding that correctly.
Just take a motion, we just move it forward.
public hearing.
Yeah, for the 13th of June.
9 a.m.
Soon there. So,
I'm ready.
Second.
Hooked you up on that budget and you've done, we got.
So on the motion to go forward with a public hearing on the budget at 9 a.m. on June 13th. Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
And Mr. Terman?
Yes.
And then we go, probably need you all to tell us what we need to advertise, the budget as amended in our workshops to include the changes at our last meeting and a 5% increase for all employees. By what? By statute? Okay. And then also setting aside additional funding related to potential comp board requirements, comp board funded position requirements.
We should make a line item in our budget, unfunded mandated expense.
Sure, yes.
Seriously. But
It'd be a whole.
Yeah,
right. But it would be nice to have that. Delineated.
That's where people look at it and they know, you know, it's-
You think that might be able to create a whole new thing.
So is there someone, is that a motion?
I'll second.
On that one. Terrific.
Okay. All right. On the motion related to the content of the budget ad, as previously described, Mr. Booth,
Yeah.
Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook,
yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
and Mr. Terman.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We will move forward with that. And then again, to clarify that we will be advertising in both the Roanoke Times and also then in the Floyd Press as a courtesy. We'll be using the Roanoke Times as our paper of record for this purpose. Thank you.
You're done.
Sure.